Cannes Lions has everything, okay? It's got content creators telling you this is the new Coachella for creators. It's got people trying to convince you that AI is here to stay. And it also has record-breaking heat waves. That's it. That's my intro. Hey, I'm Amanda. I'm professionally curious and I talk for a living. And you're watching Swell Entertainment, the channel where I tell you about whatever I'm obsessed with every week. And this week we are talking about Cannes Lions Festival of Creativity in Cannes, France. We have so much to talk about. For those who don't know, I did a video on this last year, okay? Last year I actually did Cannes Lions and Vidcon, which was psychotic. And I did not do it again this year. I chose peace instead. According to the Cannes Lions Informa website, so Cannes Lions is put on by Informa, where creativity drives progress. Join the creative marketing communications industry at Cannes Lions in June 2026. Obviously, it's done now. I'm officially home. It is a few days after I got back, just because timing, I wanted to let my thoughts sit with me, but also I wanted to see some of the discussion from other people online talking about Cannes Lions that were in attendance. Just because Cannes is one of those events that is so large, I physically cannot see everything. I physically cannot attend every single panel. I can't even attempt to try and see every single panel. And so I wanted to see also because I am also limited by my own experience as a content creator, I wanted to see how people that were in the marketing agency from the brand side, from the agency side, et cetera, how they were responding to Cannes Lions. And I also really wanted to see how other creators were responding to Cannes Lions, because there were way more creators this year than there were last year when I went. And that was also extremely funny, being stopped on the street or in events and being like, "Hi, you made a video on Cannes Lions. Thank you. It was really helpful." Some people told me that apparently brands or YouTube or whatever had invited them to this and they had no idea what it was. And so they searched it up and then my video is what popped up. I'm just saying I think because of that I should have been on more lists, but that's just me. Anyways. But first, let me take a second to tell you about the sponsor for today's video, Saily. Saily is an eSIM service app that downloads right to your phone. When I was in France at Cannes Lions, up and down that beach, I was posting constantly. There was so much to share with y'all, and Saily kept me connected the entire time. The app lets you choose from several affordable eSIM plans across 200 destinations. With Saily eSIM, you'll always have a connection when you need it. Because I have places I want to be, and I really don't want to pay for roaming charges. They're insane. They also now have Saily phone numbers, which are super easy to set up. One tap, turned on. And so if you have shops, websites, anything like that that need it while you're traveling, you can protect your number for yourself. It's super easy to download and set up. And as soon as I touched down in France, I just toggled it on and I was already connected. And as you've seen, I've been able to use Saily in Japan, in the Bahamas, and now in France. This time I also used their widget as well, so I just added it right to my home screen so that whenever I opened my phone, I could see just how much data I had left on my plan. And if you travel a lot like me, you can earn Saily credits every time you buy a plan or refer a friend. Stay connected while traveling with Saily. You can get an exclusive 15% off Saily data plan. Download the Saily app and use code SWELL at checkout or go to saily.com/swell to start browsing some plans. And thank you to Saily for sponsoring this video. Let's talk about it, okay, because there's so much here, and I think a lot of the complaints that I've seen about Cannes Lions this year, I don't think are invalid. I think there's just too much here. And so there's a lot that gets kind of lost in execution, and there's a lot that gets lost in the heat wave that we had. First, creator breakfast at 9. It is 8:43, so I get to walk around a little bit. Oh, this is so nice. So some people from the Lions team really actually took a lot from my video from last year about the creator badge. And so I was like, hey, can you guys hook me up this year, or I can do consulting, etc. And they were like, hey, a little too late for that. I was like, valid and fair. It's my own fault. I had an insane spring and forgot to reach out to them. But they were like, but what we can do, because they have a brand new sports track, the Lions sports track, and I am a sports girly pop, they did hook me up with the sports track. So I paid for my creator badge, which was $1,400. I think. And then they added on the sports track, which I probably wouldn't have qualified for the sports track regardless, because it was an apply situation and it was like $2,400, which is a lot for 2 days. But they did that intentionally, and we'll talk about it. The sports track is brand new, and it was for the 24th and the 25th only. So I RSVP'd for that. I don't think I RSVP'd for UTA. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't have to. Inside, for things that are inside the actual festival, sometimes your pass is just enough. But sometimes it's like, no, this time slot is for like invited guests, etc. Is that a guy? I don't have my glasses on, can you tell?
And sometimes you have the grinder bus.
The number I heard with creator badges this year, for specifically creator badges, okay, because I was very aware overall that I don't think this event this year across the Crozet was, I'm definitely butchering how I said that. Overall, there was not more people here this year. I definitely think there was a larger percentage of content creators that were there this year. But even then, that larger percentage of content creators, I think, was fairly small in consideration, because the amount of times that I would talk to another creator and they were like, oh, thank God, I've been looking for creators. And I think it was also just like, we have the influencer, YouTuber, streamer side of things. Sometimes there's people are in their bubble, which is not a bad thing. It's just like we've met at events. And so it was like, oh, thank God, Amanda's here. I can talk to her and I don't have to be on, because I have an opinion on sliced bread. And so though I had a great time, other people feel comfortable telling me when they're not having a good time, okay? Which I will still protect their confidence in this moment as well. I don't think it was the invasion of content creators that some people were referring to it as. But again, there's things that I was not into, that I did not get into, that I did not get the chance to get into, or that I was not accepted into, etc. And the number that I heard for the actual creator badge itself, which I don't know how accurate this is, was that last year there was about 250 creator badges that were, in operation. And this year there was 500. Now, many people that I know that went did not have badges, or they never used them. And last year I talked with many people. My manager came as well, and she didn't get a badge. She didn't need one, frankly. From the creator side of things, I do think you can do Cannes Lions without having an official creator badge. Now, this does make it easier to get into certain things across the board, and it is cheaper than, say, the standard ticket, the classic ticket, and things like that. But it's still a lot of money, and we're also going to get into, at the end of this, I'm going to talk a lot more about who I think this will be good for creator-wise, just because I have, since being in Cannes, been messaged by many of people that were at Vidcon asking if I think that they should do Cannes Lions instead next year. And for some people, the answer is yes. And for some people, the answer is no.
Okay, just left the creator breakfast. I committed to like 6 breakfasts. I feel like we got the brand beach, which I think there's a certain type of pass skim to that one. That's a check later situation. It's annoying when you already see that you're missing things that you wanted to be at.
So across the board, it's hot. France had a heat wave this year, and frankly, it was about 10 degrees hotter this year than it was last year. A lot of people were like, that weren't here last year, were like, people were saying it was hotter last year. I'm like, those people are lying to you. Like, I don't know what they're talking about. There's literally record-breaking heat happening in France currently. It was not hotter last year. No, I don't know who told you that. If anything, I think last year, a lot of brands and activations dealt with the heat a lot better, i.e. they had more fans, they had more water, food, etc. I bring up the lack of food because, like most events that are in the creative industries, this was a work event. Even for the after parties, those are still tied to the work events. You're around people that you work with or will be working with or hope to work with. And so a lot of people having free bars and open bars, fine, cool, dandy. You also need to be feeding people, especially when there's heat. But also, again, with this heat, like, it's not just like people are sweating. It's not just fluids. It's like nutrients, like feed people. My God, like having a cookie with your logo on it branded that you're handing out. It can be those rock hard, horrible sugar cookie things. It doesn't matter. They are affordable to buy en masse. And also with the amount of money you're spending on some of these beach setups and brand setups, you can afford food. I'm just saying.
Commercial creativity with a point of view in partnership with Adobe. Ugh, God, I love the water.
What is happening along the beach? Because Cannes Lions is not just the actual festival itself that this badge gets me into. It's also taking over the entirety of the beach and taking over a bunch of the hotels and restaurants lining the beach. Those events, a lot of them on the beach, are in partnership with Cannes Lions Festival itself, but most of the time they're like leasing it. There's like an agreement. A lot of their lineups are also included in the programming for Cannes Lions itself. That's one of the reasons that my manager and a few friends of mine that were on site did not have a badge. They didn't need one. There was plenty for them to see and do plenty of relevant talks to our industry for them to be going to without a badge. And that's, I think, a good and a bad thing. I think it's a bad thing for Cannes Lions itself, the festival, because then obviously it's like, it's not delisting the importance of it, because I don't think that's what's happening. I think it's just, you're not the arbiters of the important conversations of the important talks that are happening. Like they're happening because of you, because you're there, obviously. Like everyone's in town for this. But like last year, I met someone from Google who's like, yeah, I've been coming here for a decade. I've never had a badge to the festival itself. I've never needed one. And even then, like for things like Meta, UTA, etc., if you had a meeting, you could just get this card. If you had a meeting, you could get a wristband and they would let you in to the festival itself.
All right, welcome to the Creator Sandbox. What's up? Very nice. Build the agentic economy with Meta.
I kind of like this painted exposed wood look that they're doing.
These pods with AC. That's funny. Meta Beach.
You can do can lines without the festival badge itself, which is one of the notes I want to make because a lot of people were criticizing the fact that creators were not talking about the basement. The basement was in the actual Palais basement. It's not like this was highlighted to me. It's not like anyone told me, hey, you got to make sure you check this out. And you know the nominees for the actual Cannes Lions is our awards. Like there are awards. In the basement of the actual festival space, there is all of the nominees and the work that is currently being nominated with case studies. And I actually really love how they did the case study breakdowns of these, which I was very interested in. I don't know how much content I took in here, but I've been seeing a couple of people that found out about it and then found their way in towards the weekend. I think one thing I would recommend across the board for Cannes Lions Festival itself is to bring on creators, at least 2, if not more. And you give them the guidance of not just going in to do everything and like not just putting them on panels, but specifically giving them the task of highlighting this space and the work, the awards themselves. Because there's multiple nights of awards. There's also a creator space, social and creator work that is being awarded and winning. You can submit your work to be nominated and potentially win an award, which is something that I think a lot of people don't necessarily know. I think there just needs to be more of a highlight of this work, of this space, especially because I think this is also really valuable from the creator side of things to see. Like, yeah, the questions you have about like what are brands looking for, what work can put you on a level of opportunities and such is in this room. One of the questions that I had after the fact of literally when I was on the plane coming home, I was like, oh my God, wait, was the Dr. Pepper jingle girl at Cannes Lions? And then I later found out that I didn't see this when I was in the basement, but there was a case study about the Dr. Pepper jingle because that was a great example of a brand not fumbling a fan of a product like social media moment because she made a video about like Dr. Pepper. Baby, it's good and nice, da, 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 or some shit. I don't know. It was fantastic. Okay, she was like, you guys need a jingle. And sure enough, they ran her a check. Like that's fantastic. That sounds so simple. The amount of brands that don't do that right now, Hidden Valley Ranch. Are you capitalizing on the World Cup and the fact that everyone visiting from other countries is now obsessed with ranch? TSA had to make a statement to ask people to not bring ranch home in their carry-on bags. Are you capitalizing on this? I better see an ad. I better see something quick. I don't know why I have not seen anything. Maybe they have and I haven't seen it. I don't know.
So behind me, there are people with paddles with various brand names or meeting spots on them. They're up and down pretty much the entire beach area for different hotels and such. And those are like, you're on the list, you have a meeting, things like that. Mostly for meetings. This is still a marketing festival first and foremost. There's massive deals that are being finished here, you know? So it's like, finish the deal and then yay, now we drink.
There's such a interesting discussion to have here about the types of programming. Overall, I think there might be I hesitate to say too much programming. As someone that has a diversity of the things that I am interested in, the diversity of curiosity and things that I want to hear people talk about and experts I want to hear talk, I'll listen to someone with 3,000 followers talk about how they got a brand deal. Like I'll listen to that, you know, like I'm open, but there's often too much. So even then it's like there's a a gap in programming, because one of the criticisms that I saw from the creative side, that is not creators, i.e. the actual people writing the copies of these commercials, the actual creative directors, the photographers, the videographers, the writers, the actual agencies side of things. The criticism is from the fact of how tech business focused the festival has become, and delisting the importance of the copywriters, the creative directors, the editors, the actual concept designers, the videographers, filmers, photographers, etc., the people actually making these advertisements, these commercials, these moments, the delisting of the importance of the work, essentially. And instead, it's become, did you get into Spotify Beach? Spotify is a beach not because, let's celebrate the creativity of music. That's not what it is. It's for ad space. Spotify ads. They have Spotify Beach because they're hoping that people are going to give them money to play their ads on Spotify. TikTok. Why does TikTok have a garden? Here are the TikTok ads. Google Beach, ads on Google. Okay. Which again, Big Daddy YouTube's Google AdSense, that's going to be the bulk of the income from this video, most likely. That's the priority of a lot of things now. Now, there's great talks that happen in these spaces. There's fantastic talks, and it doesn't change that. But then also it's like, that's where I see the criticism coming in for, again, sticking the work of all of the nominees in the basement. And again, it's AC down there, but like I found that. No one told me to go check that out. No one was like, you have to go see this. I found it because I was looking for the bathroom. One thing that I thought was interesting, I went to Creator Beach, okay, because last year it was the Creator Rooftop. And I think there's a lot of improvements for Creator Beach across the board, especially the location, like just not being on the rooftop. To get to the rooftop, there was elevators. They weren't always in operation. So most of us would take the stairs. It was hot. It was baking in the sun on the rooftop. Side note, if you're putting things on the rooftop and you don't have sun cover that you are not bringing in, I need you to pick a different venue for next year. I'm dead serious. Like even without a massive heat wave, that's insane. Okay. Your little umbrella is not doing enough. The Creator Beach, which in theory, I think is such a better setup. I need you to put it in a different spot on that beach. So Creator Beach is inside the festival itself, and it's at the very back. Why am I closer at Creator Beach to the Axios yacht on Yacht Row than I am to Meta Beach, which is within the same vicinity? That's silly. I think you need to swap out Creator Beach with Brand Beach. I'm just saying I would switch them out because, again, most of the people going into those, I think, have meetings, Heineken's going to be pissed at me. I feel it. I know it. I think we need to swap it further because a lot of people that I met that did have badges, they spent less time at Creator Beach if they weren't there with a brand, which was Adobe. Adobe brought out quite a few creators, and Adobe sponsored many a space up and down the Crozet. And so obviously they don't need to be at Creator Beach with Adobe because Adobe's also at Sports Beach and I think Spotify and TikTok and about 8 other places, including their own setup. They don't need to be at Creator Beach. Something that I thought was incredibly interesting. I went to one of the final talks, like I said, at Creator Beach because I was like, I literally schlepped my way over there. I was like, I need to make sure I go to another talk, if not 2 more in this space so I can at least, properly like review the lineup and things like that. Most of the talks I bookmarked so many talks and so many things I just never was able to. I need a better event. So many things of what I get out of events is I love talking with people. I can learn from anyone. I love giving ideas to people. I can get ideas from so much things. So like, even if I didn't come out of here with a brand deal collaboration inked up, it doesn't matter. I got so much out of this. I have so many different ideas, including, oh my God, I'm going to find someone that's going to help me build an event app because I've used too many bad event apps. You guys need to sort out your event app. It kept logging me out, which inside of this, when we're all in another country and so many people are on data, like that's bad. Also there's two, like, I should not have to scroll down to the current time slot. It should immediately jump up to the time slot that is currently upcoming for different talks and things like that. That was the other thing. They were like, oh, can you tell them their app is a problem? Was what some people were telling me. So I'm going to make an event app. Side note, if anyone comes at me with a vibe coded slop app, I'm hitting you in the face with a baguette. Okay. Anyways, so I was like, let me make it over here. It didn't matter what the talk was. I was like, I just need to go sit at 2 more talks. But I went to a talk and it was DoorDash and Lube, a marketing company, I believe, that is run by a former Viner. The overall thing that I thought was interesting was even before that, the talk was fine. I was like, okay, this doesn't feel relevant to me, which is fine. That's not every talk is gonna be relevant to me. That's fine. I'm sure someone got something out of it. But what I thought was interesting is the MC for the creator stage asked at the start who here identifies as a creator, and the people that raised their hand was me and one other person.
Where do you guys all work in? Like, raise your hand if you work, if you're a content creator. Okay, very nice. What's your core platform? Instagram. Instagram? What about yourself?
YouTube.
YouTube. Okay, very nice. Raise your hand if you consider yourself a brand marketer. You work at a brand. Okay, what about agency side? Hell yeah, we love to hear it.
Now, again, it could just be this talk. Creators are not intrigued by this talk. I did have people ask me, it's like, okay, yeah, that's kind of the problem with the creator track, is that some of the best creator economy, creator brand discussions, creator, deal discussions are happening outside of the festival. I have about 7 talks that I'm pitching for next year. Like I have so many ideas of things that I want to see. I don't even need to be on these talks. I don't need to be in these panels. I'm pitching them and I will give several names attached to them of like literally reach out to them to do this talk to this brand, talk to this creator, because we need to round out some of this a bit more, because a lot of it is, I think, for at least the creator side of things, a circular talking at problem. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, we've got creators here, some of whom it's not even like, I don't think you should be here if you've never done a brand partnership. I don't think that's it at all. I think there's people with 2 million followers here that shouldn't have been here, because this is just not, they're here because a brand asked them to be here and not because they knew exactly what they wanted from it. For most people, this is a hobby that turned into a job, And so many of them have never done a networking event a day in their life. And when I mean a networking event, I don't mean a creator collective. I don't mean a YouTube creator collective. No offense to YouTube creator collectives. I love a YouTube creator collective. But it's a very different vibe to be in a room where 90% of the people in there are other content creators and understand what you do. And it's another thing to go into an event like Cannes Lions Cold Turkey, where many people do not like that you're a content creator. Not only do they not recognize you, they don't see the value in what you do. Now, again, I'm not saying that's right. I'm saying it takes a certain type of personality to be able to deal with that and be able to advocate for yourself and be able to pitch yourself in that moment. If you've never done networking like this before, it's going to feel like you're being repeatedly slapped in the face, and you're going to be miserable and you're not going to have a good time. And then you're going to see me at a YouTube party and you're going to be like, oh, thank God, someone that I can talk to. And I want you to have a good experience, because I love this event. I really do. I had a great fucking time. Do I have notes? Yes, I'm me. Okay. But I get so much out of this event. It's always devastating to me when I have people come up to me at this event or after this event and they message me and they're like, I'm never doing this again. I hated this. I know you like events. I hate this. Last year, I had multiple people tell me they tried to change their flights to leave, and they came with brands. They came with like the most possible, everything being done for them, set up, things were paid for them, etc. And they were still miserable. They were put in rooms where everyone knew, because there was a big deal put around them, and they were still miserable. And 80% of the time it was because people were talking at them how to do their job, which unfortunately comes down to a lot of these issues. Especially like, for example, when there's so much programming like this, you got to kind of think about, what is the draw? Is the draw the conversation? Is the draw the people on the panel? There are topics that I am intrigued by, and I'm like, oh, if I make it over there, great. However, do you know what made me walk 22 minutes uphill in this heat to go to Colin's house? Keke Palmer and will.i.am. Same with me making sure that I went to George Russell's talk, Tara Davis Woodhull, okay, Susie Wolf, Lando Norris, certain topics as well. Like I went to Axio's house because I wanted to see the athlete to entrepreneur pipeline, which I have a lot of feelings on and I have a lot of belief in, as far as athletes making the pivot into entrepreneurship once they retire or even before they retire. And so I made sure that I was at that talk on the Axios yacht. Also, I love a yacht. Side note, I know it's like my least leftist quality. I love a yacht. I know. They were all docked, but I was also in the south of France.
So this is the Carlton. We got TikTok here, we got LinkedIn, and Lion Sports starts here today.
Many people could not get into the sports stage one because you needed the sports badge. Side note, because the sports track was 2 days, it was only the 24th and 25th, many people could not get into the actual festival itself those 2 days. So again, they're going to go to the sports track, which the Lion Sport, originally I was like, this is where it's at. And then in practice, I was like, oh no, this was brilliant. Again, it is taking things away from the festival space itself, but I also think this was better as far as the setup goes. The Lion Sport track was in the basement of the Carlton. It was great because AC. It was also good because we were across from Sport Beach. So at one point I was like, hey, I gotta go. I'll be back. But I gotta go. Lando's speaking at noon at Sports Beach. And they were like, they're like our title partner, So Sports Beach was in collaboration with Lion Sport. I am curious about how many people had the Lion Sport pass and how many people utilized it, because they had so many seats.
So this is the Lions Sport setup. This is crazy.
So I think all of these are reserved. Yeah, reserved with names. That's Sports Beach reserved. Reserved. Let's see. We've got Publicis. This is so cool. And there were a few times where I was told, like, I was like, oh, I want you to meet so-and-so. And they were like, oh yeah, like just flag me and we can try and get them in. I don't know if they had extra seating on purpose to hopefully try and like, if anyone decided like, oh, I can get so-and-so in, would that work out? Side note, screen wise, if you're doing a presentation, light gray and white text, get rid of it. I don't care how good it looks on your dark computer screen in your dark office. Stop it. Oh God, so often, so many panels. I could not read it because there's also a light lighting the stage, and so I can't read your slide. What are we doing? I figured by now people would stop using light gray as a backdrop, but no, it looks cool, I guess. Okay, but great stage setup, great audio setup. They had screens throughout for this massive room. So even when I was in the very back on like the rows of chairs in the back and not on one of the couches or the folding chairs in the setup, but I could still see the screens in the presentations, which was good. And then again, food every time, which was smart because they had people sponsoring all the lunches and breakfasts, which is good. Because we were separated, it was easier to show like, yes, this is a curated space of people. And so having this separated like this made it very clear how curated this was, and also made networking much easier and talking with people much more easier, meeting people much more easy. And also we're not dealing with, feedback from the next room over of people or people trying to sneak in or anything like that. Made it more comfortable for eating with the lunch and stuff. You needed more tables. You did need more tables for the food. Aside from the tables that had like literal desserts and stuff set up on them, there was, I think, 2 high tops. Only one had, I believe, seats. We could have fit at least 3 more. 3 more on top of those 2. Would it still be enough? No. But it'd be more. And then no one is huddling, eating around the dessert table. You know what I'm saying? They did do this really cute thing with the desserts though, because they had like the first day, I think it was like footballs, soccer balls, and basketballs and golf balls. It was very fun. They kept doing like fun little desserts that were all sports themes, which was very fun. But it also highlighted all the sponsors. Like, so I was talking with someone, because this one company, they are like an agency. And I was like, oh, are you in the sports space? So they're like, no, we've ended up in the sports space. And I was like, that's kind of the move though, because sports, you can parlay into literally everything else. Everything. And I was like, how about women's sports?
I just met a bunch of girls that are here. They're grad students from NYU. And they were so sweet. They were like, oh my God, I watched all your videos. We watched your video on cam before coming. We talked about how the student pass is working a bit here and there, and how some places are giving them some trouble about getting in, but overall they're having a lot of fun.
Side note, across the board, I think some of the best talks that I saw were the 15-minute talks, because 15 minutes, regardless of who's speaking, you get to the meat of the topic. You get to the meat of the stats, you get to the meat of the work. And I think that that is so valuable in a space like this. I don't want to say I saw this in the Lions space, but across the board, same issue as last year. Many of people were moderators that should not be moderators. Sometimes someone does not like being a moderator because they thought they were going to be on a panel and surprise you're a moderator. I never think that's a good move. Hey, we have 2 people on this panel. If you still want to be on this panel, you have to be the moderator. Never goes well, especially because there are people that would prefer to be a moderator. Most of the good moderators that I saw were people that were in the journalism side of things or the editorial side of things. And I think that was the move. If it was someone from a company that then also ended up having to do moderation, you either could sense their disdain or you could sense they were also trying to get their photos for their LinkedIn simultaneously. Just saying. And also some people just are not good on speaking on stage. And that is what it is. It is the nature. It doesn't mean they don't have anything to share. It doesn't mean they have anything of value to say. It just means that this is not their domain. You know what I'm saying? It's a skill. If I bring this up, I'm never going to work with Marriott Bonvoy, but you know what? Okay, CEO of Marriott Bonvoy. Do you hate George Russell? I obviously went to the talk with George, and there was just a few little digs that I was just like, that feels weird. This feels pointed. It seems like there's something deeper here. Yeah, it was Scott Soshnick, of editor-in-chief of Sportico. He actually did a very good job, I feel, with this moderation, especially because he kept pressing Anthony, who is the president and CEO of Marriott International. At one point, he was like, oh, because they were talking about pressure in the space. And so it's like, yeah, the pressure of a CEO of a massive corporation like Marriott and the pressure of being a Formula One driver driving over 200 miles an hour. Side note, as I'm recording this, George just won, the Austria GP. So congrats, dude. But like they were talking back and forth about this. And at one point he was like, oh, what about any mistakes that you've made as a CEO? And he goes, oh, getting in the car with George at like Silverstone or something like that for a hot lap. And it was like, so weird. Like, I think you're trying to be funny, but also it's like, this is a very valid question pertaining to the topic of his talk. That felt weird. There was another part where he like just little digs here and there, and he did Pressman's like, oh yeah, like he asked like, oh, do you set up an environment that like people can, your employees can come to you with ideas or criticisms? He's like, they all have my phone number, and he goes, but did you set up an environment where they feel comfortable to use it? Like good follow-ups. Great. Like that was good. But yeah, that whole talk, I was like, the vibes feel weird. Side note, Tara Davis Woodhull, hi, I adore you. You looked gorgeous. You put your arm up on the ball of the seat because they had like these big ball pillows. It was very cute. She put her arm up and her arm flexed, and I was like, you looked fantastic. But they were talking about Athlos, which is, professional women's track and field, and everything that they're doing and the involvement with athletes being partners. But she mentioned at one point where she was talking about how they have a videographer that comes to all of their trainings and practices. And so he's filming constantly, but then also they get footage after the fact edited by the next day, and how helpful that's been with their content and keeping things up. And I think this is brilliant. And I think it's great for athletes to think about this as well, because so many athletes obviously in the modern day are being forced into the content creator space. Most industries, a lot of people that I talked to this week, not just athletes, but just executives, founders, were like, yeah, everyone's telling me I need to be making content. And I'm like, if you're B2B, you should be doing LinkedIn, unfortunately. If you're B2C, depending on your demographic, Gen Z likes to know who we're giving our money to. Same with young millennials. We'd like to know that people are not complete psychopaths. And we also like to know that people are funny. So something to think about, like truly from the athlete side of things. I think so many athletes offset that content things to their teams, to their companies, versus like bringing someone on who's like a videographer who's just like, yeah, here's the reality. We're just filming stuff and editing it and posting it. And it's past the social media manager side of things, because they obviously could facilitate with helping with posting it. But I think it's one thing to be doing all social media versus someone that's just doing video. You know what I'm saying? I think that's brilliant of having a straight up videographer on site. I really love that talk. That was a great talk. All right, so I'm inside more of the festival. We got Adobe. They have a little Disney activation right now. We got L'Oreal, but they're a little busy. We got Smirnoff. We got Snowflake Freeze Frame. We got Yahoo. This is pretty much the same as it was last year. A little bit more of a hangout space. This is boiling. Oh, a side note, in case anyone's wondering, I went to multiple parties. I don't talk about that. You don't need to know who was getting sloppy drunk in a villa. You also don't need to know who was smoking Vogue cigarettes. My defense, I'm an adult. I usually don't talk about parties in this regards. Parties that were on the beach side of things, like the cocktail parties with female quotient. Side note, female quotient's expansion this year, fantastic. They were on the rooftop of the Martinez last year. They still had the rooftop, but they also expanded into a full female quotient beach. And they had literally one of the best beach setups. I kept finding myself over there. They had some of the best freebies. They often had fruits as well, on top of having food often, and a full frosé bar and freebies. Like just great setup for female quotient. I'm really excited to see. I hope you guys do this again next year, because I really think you guys had the best setup as far as the beach goes. I went to LinkedIn one time. They did have a setup. I'm not going to go a ton into setup here. Side note, they did have this thing. You guys needed so many brands at their beaches, at their activations, whatever, had great things set up and did not highlight them. This is a sticker of my QR code for my personal LinkedIn. They had this available there. The amount of people that were like, oh my God, that's brilliant. How did you do that? And I got to tell them that it was at LinkedIn, and they were like, oh my God, I don't want to go over there now. Or I haven't been able to make it over there, etc. You guys should have made a giant, hey guys, be sure to stop by here before you do anything else and get your personalized QR code for LinkedIn. The amount of people that they were able to just take because sometimes the app wouldn't open. And so I wouldn't have a connection, but they could still scan that. Brilliant. Do that more. Highlight that. There was a few things like that where I was like, that's genius. Why are we not highlighting this more? Sure. Why not? Why not? Wait, are they going where I'm going? Brands, if you are thinking of activating in Creator Beach, you have to provide your own sun cover. There was a bunch of brands. Adobe was here. Beacons was here. Beacons is a link in bio tool. They're my link in bio. You'll see them on my other social media platforms. A lot of people were activating and doing something, but they did not have for their booth setup, did not have sunshade in any capacity. Not even just for the fact that to keep people near your space, but also for your employees, the people working it. A lot of my friends work at these companies. I don't want to see them uncomfortable or, melting and dying, so there was a Dove set up with this vending machine thing. I think I only saw one time someone was standing there. Most of the time they just abandoned it, probably because it was baking there. And we come back to the same issue of what was the issue with the Creator Rooftop, which the Creator Rooftop had all these little buildings. There was a YouTube one, there was a Passes one, there was Snapchat one? I don't know. Meta? Probably Meta. But the issue with that last year was that I believe there was AC inside these little pods. And so people were always inside these pods and the door was closed. And so a lot of people never went in and talked to these people because it felt like I was intruding. There would be times where I would open it and they'd be like, oh my God, yay, hi, come in. Let me tell you about our AI thing. And I'd be like, ugh, but like they want to talk to you. And then there'd be times where it'd be like, excuse me, this is a meeting. And then I'd want to die. So I just feel like we come back to the same issue because no one's around the space. You know what I'm saying? This is not something that I think the festival itself can handle, but I think that there is a very real market next year because there's already market. There's plenty of people that like, you can get the party list, you can get the brand list, you can get the specialty dinner list from people. Okay. I was on several of those mailing lists because I was like, let's see what there is. Doesn't mean you get into everything, but at least you know what to apply for and things like that. But in doing that, I think there's also a market for lists to be made of programming, like straight up programming lists of different panels and talks that have no involvement from a brand. Because obviously Adobe's going to if Adobe puts this out, they're going to tell me to go to every single Adobe sponsored panel for the creator economy, 100%. Between sports speech, between Lions Sports, between Yacht Row, researching all of those and being like, hey, if you're into sports marketing, if you're into here's where you need, here's all the talks that I think you should try and go. Creator, if you're a creator of this scale, you should be doing here. If you're a creator of this scale, if you're starting out, if you want to work with creators, this is what you need to be going to. Like food, company, commercials, here's all the talks you need to go to. I think that type of like separate programming setup from people outside of being actually on payroll, I think would be incredibly invaluable for people because there's plenty of talks where it was like, oh, did you go to this talk? And it's like, no, I didn't because I was at this talk. And it's like, again, it's a lot of it's a preference thing, but like there were some great talks that I never even heard about, that I could have easily gone to. I just never heard about them until it was too late because this is day one. Okay. Day two. And this is just, I think, the Lions programming. This does not count sports speech. This does not count any of Yacht Row. This is just the programming of this one of these tracks for the official badge track. And like I said, you can easily do this event without an official Cannes Lions badge. So I think there is going to be a huge market for secondary. There may already be, and I'm just not privy to it, or there's not creator focused ones yet. I think there's going to be a huge secondary like digital market of like, these are the talks I think you should be looking for, etc. Guys, across the board, if you're doing a house, I went to many a house. I went to Darkroom. Darkroom was great. Darkroom had food. There was a lot of houses, villas, etc. If it's more than a 15-minute walk from the beach, you got to be doing shuttles. I'm so sorry. If you want people to come, I think if you're not doing shuttles, you shouldn't be shocked if no one's coming. Or even an Uber code. Do they do Uber codes in France? Uber's a thing. You could be doing Uber codes. There's always that. That could be a move. But if you're doing something in a villa off-site and you don't have food, I don't know what to tell you. Because like they're already leaving the main event to go to your thing. And you might have great speakers. You might have great talks. You might have great things happening. You need drinks. You need shade. You need food. There's so much happening. If you want people to stay at your thing, you gotta be figuring that out how. The easiest way is feeding people. No one's going to leave if they have a plate of food in their hand. You know what I'm saying? So something to think about. Yes, it's an extra cost. This is not a convention hall. I'm not talking to the artist alley people, okay? I'm talking to people that have millions of dollars in ad spend. They're trying to court the $3 billion creator economy, etc. They have the money to be doing that. Rachel Carton, who writes for Link in Bio, which is a newsletter that I actually subscribe to. I adore Link in Bio. She literally wrote about my first time going to Cannes Lions and why every ad tech company spending millions to activate on the beach made me more bullish on the work we do in organic social media. And I totally agree. I think it'd be very easy to get imposter syndrome in this space, especially as I said, like having to advocate for yourself, which I do all the time. Especially as someone who goes to so many different types of events, I often am having to explain what I do to people. Yes, I speak to a camera. Yes, I do make money. Yes, it's my full-time job. Yes, I've been doing this for years. Yes, I get AdSense and I also brands pay me to talk about them. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's great. It's also in this space, like feeling like you can get to imposter syndrome. It's very easy to do. I don't think that's what this is. And I totally agree with Rachel where it's like, yeah, you see this, you see what everyone's doing. And it's like, I have a reputation of nuking events. Like there are people that literally consider me an event serial killer. just from making a video, from buying a ticket. And then to see them trying to match that impact, but to match figuring that out. Like, there are plenty of people that came to this because of my video from last year. Did I make a huge dent in their overall income or ticket sales? Probably not. But there's plenty of creators that did do that simply from being like, yeah, hey, I went to Cannes Lions last year, or I really want to go to Cannes Lions this year. Like, the impact of the individual creator and in social media is such a huge deal. Hell, look at what I hate the Meta glasses. Okay. I tried the specs this week. You're getting a full video on specs. Don't worry. Okay. But Meta launched their new collaboration with Kylie Jenner. Do you know why they launched a collaboration with Kylie Jenner? Because they understand the impact of Kylie Jenner's involvement and the amount of fashion girlies that will ignore the fact that they are now giving into the surveillance glasses because Kylie Jenner is wearing these. She is an ultimate influencer, 100%. God, Substack across the board. I think it was Lena Dunham literally talking about how someone said the best book tour you can be doing right now is a Substack book tour. And look how well her book did. The numbers are there as far as organic social media goes, and as far as independent social media goes, as far as marketing and branding and success of rising and falling performance of things. So I think if anything, I totally agree with Rachel where it's like, yeah, this actually re-emboldened my ability of what I can and can't do as a creator. I have such a good time. I have so many more notes. I feel like I could just keep going, but my battery on my camera is going to die. This video is going to be so long. William's going to kill me. I went to many great talks. I went to many poor talks. I bumped into many creators that I know who were doing the Clout Olympics bullshit, which again, I remember when you guys do that, just for the record, I don't tolerate that shit. The end. Okay, you showed me who you are now. Again, we're moving on. But alas, I will be going in next year. If you are another creator and you're thinking about going in the future, I think just really be realistic about where you are at in your career. If you are someone who has been told by managers that you don't have enough of an engagement following, etc., to have a management, you do not need to be spending $4,000 to go to France. Not that that's what I spent, but you get my point. I think also the issue here with like why we're going to have even more creators next year that are choosing Cannes Lions over Vidcon when really they should be at Vidcon is Vidcon doesn't know what the fuck it's for anymore. Vidcon is not for content creators anymore. It is for the creators that they make future creators and then newbies who want to make money off of content. And so all these AI companies are like, yeah, let's sponsor all these talks of how to be creative with AI. Oxymoron. AI is in the workplace. AI is coming for your job. Alas, it's not. I'm so glad Colleen, my manager, was able to come with me this year because I was able to fully be like, see why all of us need to be here next year. Here's why our whole roster needs to be here. Okay. The whole management company needs to be here, etc. So I'm renting also a yacht next year for an after. I didn't go in the ocean. I put my feet in the ocean one time the entire week I was here. Not next year. I'm planning accordingly next year. I will be getting extra days and I will be renting a yacht. We will be having Swell's decompression yacht after the fact, okay? I think that's going to be it. Oh my gosh. Did you go to Cannes Lions? Did you see me at Cannes Lions? Are you searching up this video right now because you heard about Cannes Lions and you think you want to go and you're like, oh my God, a video on Cannes Lions. Yay. Let me check it out. Did you not know I was at Cannes Lions and you're like, oh, thank God you were there. Let me know. Comment down below. Reminder, I stream on Twitch. Reminder that Swell Entertainment is now available on Spotify. Reminder, check out Girly Pop Go for some more car and motorsport content. Shout out to my channel members. Thank you so much for supporting me on channel memberships. If you also like to support me on channel memberships, you can go ahead and click join down below. Like to follow me on social media. That'll be all up here. And that's going to be have a day. Goodbye. This happened last year too, so I know it'll happen again. So many of the creators that told me they had a miserable time, within the next couple of days, they'll post about how much of a great time they had and how amazing it was and how you absolutely have to do Cannes Lions because they're there with a brand. And it's fine. I can be honest for the both of us. It's fine. But also, that's also probably why I don't get invited by more brands and things like that is because I will share if I'm not having a good time.